Hey everybody, DeLongShot Signatures here. This is the fourth and final part of my 2023 NHRA U.S. Nationals in-person autograph recap for Sunday, last day of qualifications for everything. And for Sunday, ended up getting a total of 43 autographs. I didn't spend as much time at the track as I had the previous days. I'll explain why a little bit later. But still was able to get a decent number of autographs for the day, considering the shortened amount of time. And in total, in the 3.5 days between in-person successes and a few purchases, I added 212 autographs to the collection. So a very, very, very productive weekend. Always look forward to this whenever I get the chance to go. And this year was leaps and bounds ahead of any of the other ones that I've been to, because I don't think I've ever done 3 days at the track plus additional events. So we're going to go ahead and go in alphabetical order here, except for the last one. I'm going to save a special one for the end. But first one we have is a hero card signed by Alexis DeJoria. So she is one of the maybe like 3 or 4 drivers that I met each day that I had the opportunity to do so. I had her sign an old hero card that I've had for a number of years now, so really glad to get that one finished. She was working in her pit at the time, and we could tell she kind of acknowledged that she would come over and sign, but she needed to get something switched out behind the driver's seat. Looked like some sort of fuel tank or air container or something like that. And it was really, really hot on Sunday, so she took a minute to kind of stay in the trailer and get cooled down before she came back out and signed, and she apologized for that. I'm like, you got a job to do. Absolutely no worries on taking your time and making sure you feel all right, because man, it was hot that day. But she was cool enough to sign that, gave a nice big bold autograph. And then we have another hero card signed by Antron Brown. Ended up having him sign this in a gold marker. It's not Sharpie. I haven't had too much luck with Sharpies recently, so I decided to give this one a try. Some off-brand says metallic on the side. I really don't know where I got it from, but that came out really, really nice. And funny little story about this. So waiting in line to get his autograph, and an actual line had formed in front of the pits, which you don't really see all that often. Usually the driver will just kind of go around the rope and whatnot. But got in line, and the person in front of me was refusing to step forward to get an autograph because there was someone from Fox Sports, I think, recording it for TV. So probably for something in the TV broadcast or whatever. And she didn't want to be on TV, even though there's no guarantee that that was ever going to be used or anything like that. So I was like, okay, whatever. So I stepped in front of her and got the autograph, and that was also on Antron's story. So if you guys were looking at Antron Brown's Instagram story on Sunday, or maybe it was Monday morning, I don't remember exactly when he posted it, the person who's getting that autograph is me. So that was pretty cool. But also really strange of that lady, because she was being very loud and obnoxious about not wanting to be on TV. It was like, you don't have to be. But either way, we'll move on. Next one, we got Brittany Force on one of this year's hero cards, the flavor pack one. I don't think I have the Monster Energy one, so I might have to look on eBay into getting one of those to send off to get signed. She was another one of the drivers that was pretty smart about when she came out to sign. She would wait until someone started running the engine in their pit, so everyone would kind of flock over to listen to the engine and get all the nitro and whatnot. And she stepped out to sign then. So saw her, got another autograph. Very cool to get that. Then we got 2 from Funny Car Driver Chad Green. Had him sign one of his older ones. I think that might be 1 or 2 years old. And then got one of his current years, which is a really nice design there. Then we have 2 from Chase Van Sant on some hero cards. He is with White Alligator Racing, which is who Jerry Savoie, his team, he raced for a long time. I don't think Jerry races anymore, and if he does, it's probably part-time. But Chase has taken over the bike and got him both at his pit and then also at the Suzuki motorcycle autograph session, which I was planning on going to the track a little bit later in the day because I thought the Suzuki autograph session was at like 11:30 or noon. I don't know if it got bumped up or if I just read it wrong, but I was at home getting ready and I went through and checked the schedule to make sure I knew everything that was going on. And I saw that that motorcycle session was at 10:30 and I'm still at the house and it's like 9:50. So got ready real quick, drove down. I don't live too far from the track, but it does take a minute to get there, between parking, getting through the front gate and then walking all the way there. So I really, really hustled and got in line like 7 minutes before the signing actually started. So I mean, I was already pretty hot just from the temperature with how warm it's been this week, but I was sweating pretty hard once I got in line and everything, but it was totally worth it. Most of the drivers showed up. There were a few that I was hoping would be there that didn't end up making it, but most of the drivers did make it, and I was able to add some of my customs as well, which you'll see later. Also at that autograph session was Chris Bostic. He was not giving out these hero cards when at his pit, but he did bring some for the signing, so I don't know if this is like last year's design. It does look pretty familiar with the Hunt Brothers pizza, so maybe it's like an older hero card and he just had some extras and brought that with him. Then we got Clay Milliken on a hero card. I think this has to be this year's because it has the Rick Ware Racing on the front of it. Then we got two from Cruz Pedregon. He was one of the last autographs I got during the day, so pretty fitting to start off this 3.5-day stretch of in-person autograph collecting with Cruz and then nearly end with Cruz. I believe those are two older ones. Didn't even bother grabbing one of his newer ones to get signed. He was actually outside of his pit signing, so like I almost missed him, but thankfully he's a pretty recognizable guy, so I was able to walk up, ask him if he would sign too, and he said he was happy to do so. Then we have a custom 4x6 signed by funny car driver Dale Creasy Jr. Believe I did not have him in the collection until I got that signed, and I had to wait a minute because there was a kid that was ahead of me, and I was like, go ahead, bud. And he was actually doing an interview with Dale. I wasn't sure if it was maybe for like a YouTube channel, maybe he has a podcast, or a school assignment. I don't know. But it was, the kid had to be like 14 or 15 from what I could tell. And so he did a little interview with him for probably about 10 minutes. And one of the ladies at the pits was like, "Oh, do you want an autograph from him?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to wait till he's done with his interview." She's like, "Oh, okay." But afterwards, Dale was super nice and signed that for me. So really glad to finally add him to the collection. Then we have a custom 4x6 signed by Eddie Krawick. Got that at the Suzuki autograph session. And then with that, one thing that Vance and Hines does well, I'm not a big fan of their posters that they give out at the pits, but if they do an autograph signing nowadays, they bring hero cards that usually is of both of the drivers or sometimes even all three. So got this one that was signed by Eddie Krawick and Gage Herrera. Really nice design there, and it's nice because didn't have to lug it around the rest of the day. Just fit easily into the folder that I brought. We got one more from 5-time Pro Stock World Champion Erica Enders. I made sure to grab one of her current ones to get that signed because I don't really think Pro Stock does any autograph sessions to the public. I think you have to be part of the top Eliminator Club, and they usually do one on one of the days for that. So anytime I am able to get a Pro Stock driver, I try to also get their current hero card as well, because they're pretty tough. Then, ironically, I didn't get this guy's, but did get a custom 4x6 signed by Fernando Quadra Sr. Saw him working at his pits, and one of his crew members asked me if I needed something. I was like, yeah, I was hoping he could autograph a picture for me. He's like, he's grabbing something right now, but he'll be back out. Quadra was grabbing hero cards for him and then his family. I think there's 4 of them that race for Elite Motorsports. So he said, let me put these up and I'll come back and sign for you. So he gave a nice signature there and had a nice comment on the design of the picture. So that was cool. I believe I already have him in my autograph collection, so I still need the other 3 Quadras. But regardless, I'm glad to get a custom done. Then we got another hero card signed by Hector Arana Jr. at the Suzuki autograph session. And then she was supposed to be there. She didn't show up, and I thought I wasn't going to be able to add her to my 4x6 customs. But at the end of the day, she was starting to take a bit more time to sign for fans. So I did get Gianna Evaristo. Then we got Mr. 16-time John Force. I had a few opportunities to get him, but he kept having to cut the autograph line short. But the first time, I think, is when I got him. And he said he had to go, so I was about ready to put my item away, but he stepped towards me, gave it a real quick signature, and left. So I was glad to get that. I got really close another time, but they said they needed to run something. And he grabbed his face mask and everything. So I knew that they were about ready to run the engine. He wasn't going to be available for a while. But still, always nice to add John Force to the collection. Then we got Top Fuel driver Josh Hart. Usually, any other time that I've been to the track, I see him out and about all the time signing for fans, but this was the only time I had seen him out. But still glad to get him regardless. Then we got another of J.R. Todd. He was out quite a bit for Kalita Motorsports. The last autograph I got was Justin Ashley right before I left. Then at the Suzuki autograph session, got another from Kelly Klontz. I believe I ran into Leah Pruitt twice during the day, so had her sign an old one, and then I realized, oh crap, I haven't gotten her new hero card signed because they didn't bring them to the Tony Stewart Racing autograph sessions when I went. So I did see her again later, and that was much more of a crowd that time, but well worth the wait to get a really cool, very nicely designed hero card signed by her. Then we got another from Lex June to try and cut down on old hero cards, but I did not make a dent in that at all. Then we got two items signed by motorcycle driver Mark Ingwerson. So he signed the custom, and then had this hero card that he signed, and you can tell it's older because it still has the Mellow Yellow Racing series on there, which it's been at least 2 seasons, if not more, since Mellow Yellow sponsored NHRA drag racing. Then this one is a 4x6 custom signed by Mason McGahey. I saw him walking around in his fire suit in his pit, and so I walked up, but he had to do something in his car. But it might have been his mom, I think, that was standing there. She's like, would you like him to autograph that? And I was like, yes, please. And so she walked over there and had him sign it for me. So that was really nice of her to do that. Then we got Pro Stock U.S. Nationals winner Matt Hartford on one of this year's hero cards. And then Matt Smith showed up to the Suzuki autograph session. Angie Smith didn't, but he was still kind enough to sign these hero cards. Finally got Mike Salinas on my 4x6 custom. I saw him around a bunch. He was always on his bike, but I could never seem to run into him at the right time. And then finally, someone else was running their engine, So a bunch of people were flocking towards that, and he was standing there drinking a coffee, and I was like, hey, I don't mean to bother you, but could I have you sign something? And he was more than happy to. I think he just probably not a big fan of crowds outside of his pit, but he signed that for me. Then we got a hero card from this year of Paul Lee. Then we got 2 autographs from Ron Capps. Decided to go with some older ones. I had more than enough from this year. So we've got that one, which looks like it would be the 2022. And then we had an old 2016 that finally got signed. And then another one at the Suzuki autograph session, Ron Torno, signed as Rat. We got 2 from Steve Johnson, signed the custom 4x6. And then I think he had the same one last year, a small, almost same size hero card. And you can tell that that one's old as well because of the mellow yellow decal there, or logo there. And then for the photos, yeah, these are the last ones. Got 3 total autographs, meeting him twice, from Tim Wilkerson. There were a couple opportunities, it seemed like, where I could have had him sign, and either it didn't work out, he had to leave for something, or I had just missed him. But thankfully, later in the day, he was taking more and more time to sign. So I got him on the custom, and then saw him again later, and he had 2 different hero cards at least. There's probably more for some of these drivers, but got 2 different signed hero cards. So there's that one, which I think was the old one, and then I think this is the new one. Because he also posted on his Instagram story that there were new hero cards for the Nationals, so I think that's what that is. Sorry about that. My cat was complaining, but I'm sure she'll do it again. But all in all, some really awesome stuff that I got signed. Added a bunch of stuff to the signed collection, and a bunch of stuff to the unsigned collection that I'll have to continue to work on over the next however long it takes. Who knows? Probably forever. But I'm saving one last item for last. This one is really special to my collection. But I mentioned in the previous video that I was looking for Tony Schumacher's crew chief. He was a former driver. He was also our tour guide when I was in 4th grade when we went to the local race shops. And he's one of the biggest reasons why I enjoy the NHRA as much as I do today. Did not see him at all Saturday, and I asked, Tony and a couple crew members, and every time it was like, oh, he's somewhere else, or oh, he'll be right back. Just couldn't see him. I walked by Tony's pit probably 8 or 9 times, if not more, on Sunday, just hoping to see the guy, and just couldn't. Never, kept just missing out, or just didn't see him, or the team wasn't there. So I was really thinking, like, man, I'm going to have to wait another year to get this signed. And then I think I had just met another driver and was walking away from their pit, about ready to turn the corner. And right there, 2 guys on their bikes pull up. And one of them is Mike Neff, who is the crew chief for Tony Schumacher. And so I just start chasing after him. Not in a crazy way, but, I'm just like, Mike, hold up. And get to Tony's pit, and Mike is parking his bike, and he starts walking. I'm like, Mike, hold on, you got a second? He's like, you talking to me? I'm like, yeah, Mike Neff, right? He's like, yeah. I was like, man, I'm sorry to bother you. I know you got a job to do, but could I have you sign a diecast for me? I've been trying to get it for years. And so finally, after all these years of waiting to afford it, because diecasts are expensive, especially ones that are rare, and didn't have a ton of money growing up, and several other years of trying to just find the guy at the track, finally got I think this is a 2008 funny car diecast of Mike Neff signed. I'm not 100% sure if this is his rookie season that he was doing it, but it's definitely one of the early years, because he was sponsored by Old Spice at the time. He would later take on a Ford sponsorship and had a blue car. But man, I've wanted this ever since I started collecting diecasts, because I had the Ashley Force hood, I had the Robert Height, and then the John Force. I think all within a year of each other purchasing those, and then took them to various signings and got those signed. But the Mike Neff one was always really hard to find because it's like about 800 or 900 made, and the other ones are like 2,400, something like that. So this one's pretty rare comparatively. But could never find it, at a good price. People wanted hundreds of dollars for it. But now that Mike Neff is no longer racing, his name's been kind of forgotten about. And even though this is one of the more rare ones, I think the price finally did drop a little bit several years ago. Got it on eBay, super happy to have it. And then again, just been chasing, trying to get him, and finally got it signed. So now I have all 4 of those from that year, and this is going to look really, really awesome next to those. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing all the stuff that I got as much as I did getting it. I am not looking forward to posting all this on Instagram. That's going to take forever. But it's got to get done, and then I got to sort it all and put it all away. But that's the fun of it, getting to see all of it come together at the end. But that is it. Another great year at the U.S. Nationals. And if you guys have an NHRA event come through your guys' town or somewhere close, highly, highly, highly recommend it. They were mentioning that there were increased ticket sales this year for the U.S. Nationals, and it definitely was true. It was packed, it was crowded, it was crazy, but it was awesome. So cannot recommend it enough. But thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. It helps me out a lot. Best luck with your guys' collecting. Take care.